Discover the shocking photos you were never meant to see. Welcome to Forgotten Frames. In 1938, as war loomed, England tested gas-resistant strollers. This eerie innovation aimed to protect infants from chemical attacks. A surreal picnic. Visitors at California's Alligator Farm, 1907 to 1953, dined among trained alligators, a sight both bizarre and thrilling. A rare photo of Adolf Hitler in Lederhosen, circa 1927. Hidden from the public, he feared it would damage his image. Snowball fight aftermath. Princeton University students, 1893. A glimpse into campus life over a century ago. 1937, Soviet young pioneers prepare for war with gas mask drills in Leningrad. A chilling look at wartime readiness. Before alarm clocks were reliable, Londoners paid knocker-uppers like Mary Smith to wake them with a pea shooter. Before fame, Tim Allen faced prison for smuggling cocaine. To escape, he turned informant and later became a Hollywood star. The cyclomare, a 1932 Parisian invention, promised an amphibious bicycle. It never caught on, but remains a fascinating relic. In 1888, Harriet Cole's donation led to the first fully preserved human nervous system. This medical marvel has only been replicated 3 times. French scientist Duchenne used electric probes in the 1850s to trigger facial expressions, an eerie experiment in early neuroscience. 1926. Ku Klux Klan members in Colorado casually enjoy a carnival Ferris wheel. Their photo made front-page news the next day. Las Vegas, 1955. Before the neon glow, endless casinos, and world-famous Strip transformed it into the City of Lights. A 106-year-old Armenian woman stands guard outside her home with a rifle in 1990, a powerful image of resilience. In 1917, 2 young cousins fooled the world with the Cottingley Ferries hoax. It took 66 years before they confessed the truth. Chaos in Stockholm, 1967, the day Sweden switched from left to right-hand driving, leading to mass confusion on the streets. A bizarre beauty contest. In 1951, judges in New Jersey rated legs-only contestants wore pillowcases over their heads. April 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson drives an amphicar half-car, half-boat showcasing the odd innovations of the 1960s. Dali Atomicus, 1948. A mind-bending photo capturing Salvador Dali, flying cats and splashing water in one surreal moment. 1910, the Princess May steamship ran aground in Alaska due to thick fog. Despite near disaster, all 150 passengers survived. 1930s London. Mothers placed babies in suspended window cages for fresh air. Shockingly, not a single injury was reported. 1864. Robert McGee, a 13-year-old orphan, miraculously survived a Sioux scalping, leaving him permanently scarred for life. In 1905, thousands gathered for horse diving, an extreme 19th century sport where horses leaped from 60-foot towers into water. Montreal, 1939. Women wore plastic snowstorm helmets, an odd fashion attempt to stay warm in harsh winter conditions. 1961, Antarctica. Soviet doctor Leonid Rogozov performed his own emergency appendectomy. then returned to work 2 days later. The Great Molasses Flood of 1919, a Boston disaster where 2.3 million gallons of molasses raced through the streets, killing 21 people. Olive Oatman, kidnapped by Native Americans in the 1850s, lived as a Mojave tribeswoman before re-entering Western society years later. May 6, 1937. The Hindenburg airship soars over NYC, hours before its tragic explosion, one of history's most infamous disasters. Enos the chimpanzee, NASA's first primate astronaut, prepared for his historic 1961 Mercury Atlas V spaceflight to orbit the Earth. 1922, Washington, D.C. A beach policeman enforces strict swimsuit regulations, measuring knee-to-hem lengths for decency. World War II. Innovation. The Krumlauf, Germany's bizarre curved rifle attachment, allowed soldiers to fire around corners. 1910. A man tests early roller skates powered by pedals. One of history's oddest attempts at self-propelled transport. 1922. Howard Carter unseals the tomb of King Tutankhamun, revealing one of Egypt's greatest archaeological discoveries. Mid-19th century Paris. A public urinal, or pissoir, offered men a way to relieve themselves on busy city streets. 1895, Paris. A train crashes through Montparnasse Station's wall, hanging dramatically over the street below. Wojtek the Bear. The World War II. Soldier Bear of Poland's Second Corps carried ammo, had a rank, and became a legend in 1942. Tour de France, 1927. Cyclists casually smoke cigarettes while racing fitness and tobacco oddly coexisting. June 17, 1885. The Statue of Liberty's face arrives in New York, waiting to be assembled into the icon it is today. World War II-era Tennessee. A massive octopus-shaped barrage balloon rises, part of wartime air defense training. 1870s America. A shocking sight, mountains of bison skulls collected for fertilizer after mass slaughter. 1918, Minnesota. German-American farmer John Meintz, tarred and feathered by locals in an act of wartime xenophobia. 1963, Hugo Gernsback models his futuristic television goggles, a bizarre glimpse into early VR technology. World War I. A soldier demonstrates steel armor and slit-lens goggles. Early attempts at battlefield protection. James Naismith, the father of basketball, poses with an early ball and basket capturing the origins of the sport. 1913, Mongolia. A woman endures a grim punishment, trapped inside a wooden box as a form of public shaming. 1945, World War II. A soldier sprays DDT inside an Italian home, an extreme effort to combat malaria during wartime. Denmark, 1936. A clothier promotes winter sales by hanging 1,000 coats from scaffolding marketing ingenuity at its finest. 1917. A Red Cross dog wears a gas mask. Wartime efforts extended even to service animals. 1881, Georgia. A man stands beside a massive wine storage vessel, evidence of the region's deep winemaking traditions. Late 19th century, Jack the Baboon worked 9 years on South Africa's railways without making a single mistake. 1938, George Stern unveils a gas so volatile it won't ignite intended solely for eerie horror movie effects. World War I, Switzerland. A man unveils an early snow-riding motorcycle, a creative attempt at winter mobility. 1957. Laika, the Soviet space dog, makes history as the first living creature to orbit Earth aboard Sputnik 2. Teachers getting wasted on spring break. 1910. Dog posing with a pipe. 1875. Schoolyard children learning how to swim despite their lack of access to water. 1922. Stockholm's telephone tornet, connecting over 5,000 telephone lines in the city. 1890. Sean Connery, signing a coconut for a little Jamaican fan on the set of Doctor. Number 1962. Elephant used to load supplies onto an American plane. 1945. President Lyndon B. Johnson in his amphibious car, with which he used to prank visitors at his ranch by driving it straight into the lake. 1965. British soldiers with captured German Goliath tank busters, which would drive under tanks and explode. 1940s. German soldier posing his dog for a photo. 1940s. 12,500 officers, nurses, and soldiers from Camp Gordon form a human eagle. 1918. A few months later, their record is overtaken by 30,000 men from Camp Custer. 4 horsemen riding down the streets of Amsterdam during a motorless day when cars were prohibited due to the oil crisis. 1973. After realizing that poor women were using the flour sacks to make clothing for their children, some flour mills started using flowered fabric for their sacks. 1939. Ringling Brothers circus elephant exiting a train car. 1963. British bulldog guards his home, barricaded during the Blitz. 1940s. Edward Llewellyn catches the world's biggest black sea bass, weighing in at 425 pounds, bringing it home by himself. 1903. Woman riding a very early scooter. 1916. Patricia O'Keefe, a female bodybuilder weighing just 64 pounds, gives a 200-pound man a piggyback ride. 1940. Testing a new prototype for a football helmet. 1912. Miss Perfect Posture contest winners at a chiropractor's convention. 1956. The girls had to stand on 2 scales, 1 foot on each, and the winners were those registering perfect 50-50 weight distribution, demonstrating perfect posture. Soldiers using gas masks to stop themselves from crying while peeling onions. 1941. Dr. Moody Jacobs shows a giant bruise on the side of his patient, Anne Hodges, the only person in history to have been struck by a meteorite. 1954. The day Sweden switched which side of the road they drive on. 1967. Police officer judging an ankle competition in London. 1930. Australia's New South Wales police turn their motorcycles into chariots and race each other. 1936. Woodsman in Montana advertising for wives. 1901. Boy Scouts examining their boots after the 8,000-mile hike towards the first Boy Scout Jamboree. Boy standing next to his riding boar. 1930s. U.S. Marine, Pacific Islands, poses for the camera. 1940s. Want to uncover more forgotten frames? Like, subscribe, and join us for the next shocking discovery. You've seen the unforgettable. What's next might shock you even more. Click to keep the story alive.